Tim Corin, the Director of Federal Partnerships for Pheasants Forever and Quail Forever with us. And back in December, we signed a national MOU with these organizations. And so Tim is going to talk about some of the ways that we've worked together in the past and can continue to work together in the future. Couple of housekeeping things. I do ask that everybody please put their phones or their Teams on mute during the presentation. I will be monitoring the chat, so if there's questions that maybe we want to answer during, we can look at that. Otherwise, we can hold off to the end. We will have time at the end for verbal and chat questions. This is being recorded, so the recording will be available on Teams, and then I'll also post it on the NRM Gateway. And the slides will also be on the Gateway, and I'll get them from Tim and load them up in the Teams chat when we're done as well. So I think that covers about everything. With that, I will turn it over to Tim.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody's time today. We're happy and excited to introduce Pheasants Forever and Quail Forever to everybody. I have a couple dozen slides here. I want to roll through our mission, our vision, our strategic priorities, pillars of our organization, and then I'll pivot and highlight some of our field staff positions and talk about ways that we can help you all out. I'm Tim Corin, Director of Federal Partnerships. I've worked for the organization for over 23 years now. We created this new position as Director of Federal Partnerships back in June. Just with the administration change and a lot of the reorganization throughout the federal agencies across the country, we felt we needed a point person to be the primary liaison for our organization and our federal partners. I was lucky enough to land the role, and I'm happy to introduce our organization to you today. So first up, I want to talk about our mission here. So Pheasants Forever and Quail Forever's mission is to conserve pheasants, quail, and other wildlife through habitat improvements, public access, education, and conservation advocacy. To date, we have over 500,000 members, partners, and supporters. I just talked about our mission. So the vision of our organization is to create a North American landscape, a quality habitat supporting wild, sustainable populations of upland game birds and other wildlife that are accessible to generations of hunters and conservationists. So next up, I'd like to explain our unique fundraising model, our membership, and what our target audience looks like. Pheasants Forever and Quail Forever is the only national conservation organization that starts locally led grassroots chapters in local communities, helps them raise money, leverage those dollars, put them into mission, but we allow those chapters to keep 100% control of how they spend those dollars. They have their own checkbook and they invest in their local communities. And sometimes it's a double-edged sword. It can be the best thing about our organization, but it can be challenging at times too. But having to sing for our supper every day, it keeps us very transparent. It keeps us very efficient and lean and mean. We go to our chapters with asks all the time, whether that's habitat projects, positions we want to start, access projects, land acquisitions, all just anything. But if they have the right to tell us no, so it keeps us honest and it keeps us working hard. If you looked at the membership here, membership is one of the only requirements we make of our chapters. They are required to have an annual membership fundraising event every year, and we collect one paid membership per household from them at those events every year. We have close to 160,000 combined memberships between pheasants and quail. And if you look, we're made up of about 75% Pheasants Forever and about 25% Quail Forever. That's because we founded Pheasants Forever back in 1982, and we founded the sister organization Quail Forever in 2005. Our target audience right now, our average membership age is 39. That's been ticked in the right direction for a while now. We're proud of that. And key attributes of our members are most of them own dogs. We're historically Midwest strong, but we've seen a big surge with Western quail and bobwhites in the Southeast. Those are the two fastest growing areas of our organization right now. Our members are very public lands proud, and a lot of them are DIY hunters. You can check the website, charitynavigator.com, and see our efficiency rating. And on average, over 90 cents of every dollar goes directly into mission delivery, about 66% into habitat restoration, nearly 25% into permanent land protection, 7% into public awareness, and less than 3% into chapter services and overhead. I want to talk a little bit about some of our historical spending. achievements we had, over 28.8 million historical acres improved, over 585,000 historical habitat projects, over 4,000 wildlife habitat projects alone just last year. And our historical program expenditures have topped over $1.4 billion in over 42 years now. Next up, I want to talk about the pillars of our organization and the strategic priorities that line up with them. So our four main pillars are wildlife habitat, advocacy, access, education, and outreach. We achieve those through our strategic priorities, which are to increase and improve wildlife habitat on public lands, to advance conservation policies and program funding, to expand public access to upland wildlife habitat, and expand, educate, and engage the upland conservation community. And I'll break those down one at a time here now. So first up is wildlife habitat. We achieve that through permanent protection. We have full-time staff dedicated to that, one on the field staff side, one on the development team side. One of them helps identify projects and the other seeks out private donors to help fund them. We also do it through restoring upland habitat on private and public lands. And through a biologist program, we achieve it through providing technical assistance on public and private lands as well. Again, top program expenditures there were 26.5 million historical acres impacted, over 500,000 historical habitat projects, and again, over 1.4 billion in historical habitat expenditures. Next one up is advocacy. I'm pretty biased on this one. I think we got the greatest government affairs team in the country. I say that because my position is actually part of that team. But in all seriousness, we have our VP of Government Affairs, Ariel Weeder, that is based out of the Washington, D.C. area. Andrew Schmidt is our Director of Government Affairs. He's based out of the D.C. area. There's myself as Director, Federal Partnerships, and then Swanee Evans handles our stateside public policy. Next up is our access. Our access priorities are great. We acquire land, fee title for permanent public access. We increase public access to privately owned upland wildlife habitat through initiatives like our PATH program. Internally, that's our public access to habitat. And we maximize access to existing public lands compatible with wildlife habitat objectives. Speaking of our land acquisition goals here, to date, we've completed over 1,810 of those, and we've permanently protected and made public over 229,000 acres. Last but not least is education and outreach. We expand, educate, and engage the upland conservation community. We're trying to expand, diversify our upland conservation community. We educate conservation community on the benefits upland landscapes to provide wildlife. We grow engagement of the upland conservation community. And just some of the events we do, we host over 1,500 events annually with over 150,000 participants. We have Learn to Hunt events, we have hunter mentor training, we have hands-on habitat, we have a Women on the Wing initiative, we have a Journey to Conservation Careers to get young people into our field out of college. We have a milkweed and classroom program, and we have hundreds of habitat workshops all across the country. I want to pivot a little bit there and talk about partner support. We work very closely with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the Forest Service, National Park Service, Department of Interior, Bureau of Land Management, and our number one partner with USDA is the Natural Resource Conservation Service. We are excited to add you guys to this list, and what we'd like to do is talk with our partners, see what niche we can fill, and then work with you all to be a force multiplier to help you hit your goals as well as deliver the mission of our organization. Next up, I'd like to highlight some of our staff positions that I think would be very beneficial to you guys. We have over 400 various field positions with representation over 42 states. First up is our habitat teams. I started out working for the organization over 23 years ago as a habitat specialist. These folks are available in their states and they have everything necessary to do habitat installation. They're the implementation arm of our mission. Whether that's tractors, sprayers, seed drills, whatever they do, a lot of grassland restoration, prescribed burning, timber stand improvement, invasive species removal, food plots, pollinator plantings, just anything habitat. They're technicians and they're willing and ready to help you deliver your projects. We have a very robust biologist program. Currently to date, we have more private lands biologists on the landscape than the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and they provide technical assistance to farmers, ranchers, landowners, and producers on not only private land, but public land as well. We also have prescribed fire coordinators, and they are everything fire. They help identify a policy that the government affairs team needs to work on. They help organize prescribed burn associations of volunteers all around the country so that we can create a culture of fire on the landscape, because it is hands down one of the best management techniques out there. We have grazing coordinators that work with ranchers. A lot of good habitat is produced as a byproduct of healthy ranching and grazing practices. We have precision ag conservation specialists. These folks sit down with farmers at their kitchen table, and they're able to take their yield monitor data and run it through software programs and show them, you know, on the screen just where their acres are red and green, and help turn those red acres green by implementing and overlaying habitat programs and projects that might be available, especially through the federal farm bill. Um, I think for years people thought that habitat and farming had to be exclusive of one another, but we found with these new positions they can be inclusive, and people can they can treat good wildlife habitat as a byproduct of how they're managing their land to make a living. We also have a science team that's head up by our very own Dr. Jess McGuire. She has a team of monitoring technicians that use ARUs out on the landscape to do inventory and monitoring and surveys to see what's out there. And I'm sorry, I used an acronym there. ARUs are autonomous recording units. It's this recording box they strap to a tree, put an SD card in it, um, leave it out for 7 to 10 days, come back, download that information, and there's a software program that tells you and identifies all the different bird species you have out there on the landscape. I think this would be something very beneficial to you guys. I know you guys manage over 13 million acres of land and water resources, and it's got to be really hard to know what all you got out there. So if there's an overlap and with our staff and areas where you'd like us to maybe put some of these ARUs out, we'd love to see what you have out there too. And it helps identify priority areas, especially where our chapters want to spend dollars. They know you got pheasants and quail on your properties that might help us gather resources to help you. And then we have a national seed team that does everything seed, from native seed to bird and butterfly mixes, the signature series food plot mixes. We got rooster booster and quail cuisine and winter survival mix and bird and buck and anything seed. We have a team that outsources that, gets the best price they can, and delivers it to partners and landowners at a very good cost. This is a map here that overlays our positions over the bird ranges, and all those stars are our field staff across the country. So if you see your area out there and there's staff overlapping it, we certainly would like to help you. Um, with that, there's a number of folks I'd like to thank. Heather Burke has been phenomenal making this happen for us. Cassie Martin, just mentioned on the screen a little while ago, has been exceptional. And Jeff Krause and Mike Richards out of DC, as well as director Stephen Hill, have been just great to work with, very flexible, and appreciate you guys coming together with us, signing this MOU, and seeing what we can do for you to help Habitat. And with that, I'd like to turn it back over to Heather. I'll stop sharing my screen here in a second. And we have a number of staff on hand here on the screen, as well as myself, and happy to answer any questions you all might have out there about the organization, what we do, and how we can help you.
Thanks so much, Tim. That was great. I was actually going to ask if you could leave up that map that showed
Yeah,
where your locations are, because I think that'll help people kind of see where they are. It's interesting that you said you're in 42 states, because we have core projects in 43 states. So maybe some of those are not the same, but similar footprint. And really great to hear about all the various teams you have. I think of interest in particular working with your habitat teams, your prescribed fire teams. We could probably really tap into the expertise of those in particular. I don't see any questions in the chat yet, but please, folks, feel free to put something in there, or if you want to raise your hand and ask a question just verbally. I know that probably one of the things people would want to know is, okay, I see these stars. It looks like you're in my area. how do I reach out? Is that map online? Is that a clickable map where they could click on the star and it gives them a point of contact, or how's that work?
If you go to our website, there's an interactive map on there. You clicked on the Find a Biologist link, and you can absolutely click on the individual states and contact information. You're welcome to reach out to those folks directly. I'll put my contact information in the chat as well. And anybody that would like to go through me, I can sync you up with your partnering biologist in your state or habitat specialist or wherever that may be. And this map changes a lot. I will say that it changes by the week, honestly. But this is the most current one we have right now. But there may be other resources in your area as well, whether that be chapters or new employees, et cetera. But happy to pair you up and make that connection and see what we can help do for you.
Awesome. Yeah, the other thing I was thinking, I can send you, I can send a list of our points of contact in our regions. We call them divisions, but in the other agencies, they're regions. And then our districts. So we have 8 regions and 40 districts. And if you want to share that out, I can kind of roughly say most of them are self-explanatory by the names, like North Atlantic or South Atlantic. But you could provide that to those chapters as well if they would like to reach out to us so that we can have that two-way communication. If there's something that you've got, an area where they're really wanting to connect with public lands and they just don't know who to reach out to, then they'll have some of our contacts. It won't be down to the lake level, but if they talk to someone in the district, that person can connect them with the park manager or the operations manager at those lakes.
That would be great. I told you I grew up in South Central Illinois. I grew up in Shelbyville, Illinois, and with Lake Shelbyville there, there's roughly about 112 miles of shoreline, I think, and you guys had a timber buffer all the way around that because it was a lake for flood control. But between that and the Kaskaskia River watershed, live in a state that's 98% privately owned. I was lucky to grow up next to that lake because without you guys and the great work you do, I would not have had a place to hunt and fish every day as a kid and adult, honestly. It's phenomenal the work you guys do there. And we have several chapters all the way around that lake. That lake's 20 plus miles long and spans across several counties. And yeah, we have a lot of eager volunteers that are happy to help out if you guys need it. But you guys do a lot of great stuff around that lake, from everything from prairie restoration, good timber management, dove plots to deer to you name it, besides the incredible fishery there is. But there's lakes like that all across the country, I know, but that was just in my backyard, and I was fortunate to have it.
Well, that's great to hear the positive experience. And that lake in particular does a lot of partnerships. I don't know offhand if they are working already with Pheasants Forever and Quail Forever. I'd have to go look at my spreadsheets to see that. But here we got someone from Shelbyville on, Lee Mitchell. So does anybody have questions for Tim here? Okay, here's one. I'm working with our local. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, thank you. Hey, great presentation. Sounds like y'all do a lot of great work. If we got a project up here, would you guys specialize in the in the walk in the field, consulting, coming out, help us treat, helping us plant, maybe get some volunteers to really help move some of our planting along the way? Is it fair to say you see the process the whole way through, or any areas you'd really emphasize your specialty?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Our habitat specialists, if they're in your area, are a one-stop shop, for habitat. Our biologists provide a lot of technical assistance, a lot of know-how. And some of them, I mean, are getting their hands dirty too. I don't want to sound like they don't. But typically, biologists would come out, do the site visit, give you the recommendations. If we have a habitat specialist or habitat team nearby, they could work with you. And then our chapters as well. We have a army of volunteers all across the country that are eager to help, and any opportunity they get to come out and help on public land, So that's their bread and butter a lot of times, their access and their happy places. If they can organize their volunteers and come out and do a work day with you and do some of the things you need done, I think they'd be very, very happy too.
That's great. Appreciate it.
No problem.
And I see that Lee chimed in and said they've been working on a prescribed burn team. Would you mind coming off mute, maybe, Lee, and talking a little bit about that?
Sure, I can do that. Thought that was interesting. You were from Shelbyville, but
Yeah.
so I'm the district guy in ODT, but I work with Shelbyville a lot and used to work at Shelbyville.
Yeah.
And I know that they've been working with the local Pheasant Forever guys on doing a burn team. So getting together a crew to assist us to burn
Yeah.
on Shelbyville. So, and I know they've been, they went out and tried some fall burns I don't think they did any this year. It was pretty dry, but last year we tried some fall burns on some of our prairies in conjunction with Pheasant Forever guys. And I know they're working on getting together a team for the area.
That's great. I know we have a prescribed fire coordinator in Southern Illinois, and I know they've been working to develop those prescribed burn associations, which where they're pulling together groups of volunteers, making sure they have the necessary certifications to be out on the landscape dropping flame. And those PBAs are very beneficial for the communities. Once they get going and get a good base of folks together, we can accomplish a lot more by utilizing our volunteers and local community efforts than we can by ourselves. It's been very successful, and we're very proud of that program. I'm glad they're doing it around that Shelbyville area. I got some dusty Nomex in the garage. I wouldn't mind dusting off and helping do a little burning around home.
I imagine they'd
Sure.
take some help if you offered it. But yeah, we definitely appreciate it. So
Good. You guys are doing a lot of good stuff around that lake.
Well,
good to hear.
I think that's always a big need at our projects around the country. Burning, we might not necessarily have the expertise on our staff or people that are trained, and so working with partners on things like that could be really beneficial. I just wanted to kind of put a call out there to anyone else that's on right now. If any of you have worked with Pheasants Forever or Quail Forever in the past or are currently working with them, would you mind chiming in and just let us know what kinds of projects you're doing?
Howdy, everyone. This is Brad Trumbo in the Walla Walla District. Our local Mill Creek project has an MOU with our local Blue Mountain Pheasants Forever chapter, and we do a lot of conservation education also with other partners like local conservation districts that involve elementary school kids and whatnot. So we get actual on-the-ground habitat done while incorporating the educational piece. And we've also worked with Pheasants Forever for youth hunts and whatnot on that particular project. So there's a lot of good success stories over the past 5 to 7-ish years so far.
It's fantastic. Love to hear those stories. I know we've got our feet wet a number of places doing some things, but just glad to make this partnership formal and have a good excuse for you all to reach out to us and vice versa, so we can do more together. I think sometimes there's a misconception that volunteer organizations are out to criticize or dictate what land managers or agencies are doing on their property. And honestly, we play very well in the sandbox as an organization with everybody else. And 99 times out of 100, when we go look at sites, we love everything you guys are doing. We just want to help you do more. And if we're additive, then that's where we want to be. And that's what we want to do, is just be a force multiplier and help out however we can.
Thanks, Brad. Yeah, I was just looking to see where I had some examples that people have talked about in the past. At John Martin Reservoir, there were some food plots that they worked with y'all on, and Cecil Hardin did some pollinator habitat and prairie habitat work, and then in Francis Walter also worked with y'all on some habitat projects. So I know we've got some examples out there. I don't know if any folks from those projects are on that could speak to those.
This is Steve Ackerman. I live in Northeast Ohio. I have 5 projects in the Muskingum region, the Huntington district, and I work with Abigail Preer, I think is how you say her last name. But she's been helping us with pollinator habitat. Just we've converted a lot of idle mowed lawn to pollinator habitat, so she's just been advising us with, management and monitoring of those plots.
That's great.
Great.
That program's been very popular, and it's such a good overlap for what we do. When the birds are chicks, they have to have bugs. The first couple weeks of their life, they depend on them for the amino acids for survival. And brood rearing habitat that doubles as pollinator habitat is a win-win for everybody.
I would, this is Lee Mitchell again. I'd just mention that we had one of your local biologists, Brandon Belts, come out when we
Yeah.
started doing the pollinators, advise us on mixes, how to get it burned down, helped us with setting our drill we borrowed from the local NRCS office, things like that we just did not have the expertise on. So super helpful when we did that. And they were more than, Brandon was more than welcome or willing to
Yeah.
come out and help us with that and spend some time with us.
Yeah, Brandon's great. Again, I'm biased. I live here in Illinois, and me and Brandon are tight, but he's actually part of our national seed team now that I mentioned earlier, and he's one of our rock stars and helps out with anything seed related, just like the project you were talking about. And yeah, we got quite a bit of recognition for that pollinator work there around Shelbyville years ago, and I'm glad to hear it's still going.
And then Brad chimed in also. He said our Mill Creek project in the Walla Walla district, that's in Southeast Washington, they've cooperated with Blue Mountain Pheasants Forever on pollinator habitat, food plots, trail cleanup, Women on the Wing conservation days, and a youth program. So we got a lot going on there.
That's great. Yeah, so we like to hear.
Yeah, I think the main thing just for everyone on this call is to realize that this is a great resource. And even without the National MOU, I mean, we've been working with both these organizations for a while, but that MOU can just kind of help you grease the skids, get your foot in the door. It can help you justify if you ever have any sort of pushback from leadership. If you say we have a national MOU to work together. Yeah, reach out because there's.
And then
not on mute. Hold on.
next to race all the way up Johnson Creek.
There we go. Yeah, utilize the resource. Our staff has decreased greatly this last year with all the people leaving the government, and then we haven't been able to rehire with the hiring freeze. So now more than ever, we really need to be working with our partners to tap into that expertise, whether it's just, the knowledge base or the actual physical boots on the ground volunteers that they can bring. So don't be afraid to make those connections and reach out.
Absolutely. I made the comment earlier that we want to help you do more, but I know at times like these, there's a lot of staff reductions taking place. We want to help you keep doing everything you're doing too. If you got stuff that's going on, good management you've been doing for years and you can't do it anymore because you do have a lack of boots on the ground, give us a call. If there's a star near your area and we can deploy somebody out to help you, we absolutely want to. We want to keep those good things going. And then same with our chapter volunteers. We have over 750 of them throughout the country, and they would love to get out and help as well.
Awesome. Well, I'll put it out for one last call. Any other questions or comments from those on the phone? All right, I'm not hearing anything or seeing anything. Well, again, thank you so much, Tim. Like I said before, folks, I'll get these slides from him and I'll put them on the Teams chat, but I'll also post them on our Gateway training pages. Someone just posted additional information about the Habitat Specialist Program. Thanks, Caitlin. I don't know if you wanted to say anything about that. Nope. Okay.
It's okay. Yep.
Oh,
No,
she
it's,
said her mic isn't working. Okay.
that's no. No, Caitlin's our program manager that oversees the Habitat Team program. Does great. I think she actually passed Cassie on to us as a contact initially to get this MOU doing. So we greatly appreciate that. But she does a great job, and we'll make sure we put her info in the chat so you can reach out to her directly as well.
Awesome. Well, we will give folks about half hour back of their time today. Thank you everyone for participating, and hope to see some more work going on together with our newest MOU partners here. Thanks again, Tim.
Thank you very much. You guys all have a great day. Thank you for your time.
All right, you too.